Also is just an incredible person, Carol Naughton, who is an executive with a group called New Ventures, which is an affiliate of the Cousins Foundation. And this group is, in no small terms, spreading the gospel about how to do effective community building and how to create healthy mixed-use, mixed-income communities. And Carol is a brilliant attorney and a brilliant business person. And we were very fortunate because she came and worked with us for a while when we were going through the development of the model. And Carol, Egbert, and I ran up and down the road to D.C. I can't tell you how many times, but we were blessed that she headed up our legal group for a while and our real estate development group. So I'm glad she is here this evening. Then sitting next to her is Hope Bolden, who is the founder of the Integral Youth and Family Project. And Hope, through her creativity and brilliance, has come up with a way of restoring the human spirit and human dignity and really serving as a catalyst so that families can reach down inside of themselves and put their God-given talents to work. And that's not easy work because when you consider the human condition, that's not the easiest thing to tackle, but Hope and her team have just done an incredible job, and many of the success stories that you hear about families accomplishing is because of their touch and their work and involvement. And Dr. Norman Johnson is just a wonderful, brilliant educator, and he has a passion for education, and he was there when we envisioned Centennial Place, and he was the player behind the Centennial Place Elementary School. And at the time, he was the special assistant to Georgia Tech, and then later he was on the school board and working with other members of the school board and a former member of our Board of Commissioners, Aaron Watson, who's here this evening. They were two of the key players who made Centennial Place happen. And that was an act of courage and commitment as well, because everyone was concerned, well, if we build it, will they come? And that was during the time when the school system itself was struggling, and Beverly Hall has done such a tremendous job in restoring the credibility and system-wide the effectiveness of the school board. But Dr. Johnson told Egbert and I, well, you may get the hard side of it done in terms of the real estate, but if you don't get the sociology right, you won't get anything done. And he has been key and instrumental to a lot of our success. I also want to acknowledge all of the AHA employees, so if you just raise your hand, because this is a group of brilliant, dedicated, professional impact players. Now, the last member of our panel is just a fabulous guy. I can't say enough wonderful things about this man. Everyone knows that he was the former HUD secretary during the Clinton administration. And without exaggeration, he really is the principal mover and reason for why the Hope 6 program has accomplished its success. And we were up in D.C., and one of the representatives from the Brookings Institution said, without question, the Hope 6 program has probably been one of the single most effective programs in both community building and urban revitalization and approaching the delivery of high quality affordable housing ever. And this young man, okay, was at the helm, key to it. He had the vision, the brilliance, the courage to make a lot of the decisions that had to be made in order for these things to happen. And it's one thing to talk about wanting to do something. It's quite another thing to step up to the plate and create the environment so things can happen. And all of the private sector investment and involvement and all the wonderful partnerships that have occurred were because this guy had the courage of his convictions to make the right policy decisions and to sell it and to oversee it and make sure that it got done the right way and well. And so if we have anyone to thank for this huge change across the nation, it's not just here in Atlanta, but across the country, this is this great leader. So please join me in giving him a round of applause.
Renee, thank you very, very, very much. Renee is, in her usual gracious way, has attributed success to a lot of other people, success on this program, success for Atlanta to its previous mayors. But the truth of the matter is, when we talk about leadership and we talk about someone who has put it all on the line over a number of years and been steadfast and shown the stamina, if you looked in the dictionary for those qualities, I think there'd be a picture of Renee Glover right there. Really wonderful person. I know the story, a little bit of the story of how she came to this position. As she said, Mayor Jackson asked her to be on the board. She was a distinguished lawyer in a major law firm, and the mayor asked her to serve as a volunteer member of the board in a part-time capacity, and then was approached later to leave the law firm and actually come and run the housing authority. There was a different housing authority director when I became HUD secretary, and I watched the process by which Renee came to the position, and it was a big sacrifice for her, a big professional decision and sacrifice for her. Over the years, she has really worked at this and has been recognized across the country. I hope you in Atlanta know the extent to which her work is respected across America. About every 3 months or so, I get a call from someone in the country that's putting together a short list of people to give an award for public service, for governmental excellence, for women's leadership, and Renee Glover is always on those lists. So please join me in just saying thank you to Renee Glover for a job well done. It is a treat to be in Atlanta. I have a personal history of some years associated with Atlanta. I think I came here as HUD secretary more than any other city in the country. In fact, my very, very first visit out of Washington as HUD secretary was to Atlanta. And I think I was here probably 25 times over the 4 years. But actually, my association with Atlanta goes back some years before that. When I was a young lieutenant in the Army, I was at Fort Benning. And I knew I was not going to be a career military officer after that summer at Fort Benning. So I thought I wanted to be in urban public service. So I would come up here weekends. Sam Massell was the mayor of Atlanta at the time. Maynard Jackson was the president of the city council. And there were elections and gopher duties to do and so forth. So I at least began some part of my public service experience in that era here in Atlanta. And of course, Andrew Young is a wonderful human being with whom I've worked in various capacities as far back as the Carter administration. But we were mayors contemporaneously. I was mayor of San Antonio, he was mayor of Atlanta, and had a lot of communication in those days. He's just one of my favorite people in the world. I think if I were to list, you know, the top 5 people I respect most in public service over the years and in the country, Andy Young would be one of those.